What's going on, guys? Here with a review of Bad Vibrations for you. Um, wow, I was not expecting the album to be this good. I definitely wasn't expecting it to be bad, but it was just... Wow, okay, I'll go into it for you. Alright, so opening track, Bad Vibrations. Alright, first of all, and I'll say this repeatedly throughout and when I do the album as a whole, the vocal delivery on this album was just great. All the different ways he sang and screamed, it was just amazing. But in Bad Vibrations, I really like how he used his voice to suit the mood of the song, and the way it opened kind of, is literally sounded like, how bad vibrations feel when you get a bad vibe from somebody. I feel like that's what it would sound like if you could actually perceive it, and it really kind of set the mood for the whole album and definitely for the track, of course. And the way they grooved around the voice, the way the instruments just all the different parts and the way they played under Jerry's voice for just that whole track, I really enjoyed it. Really kind of accentuated and enhanced the message, I feel, and just the vocal style that was being used. So I really enjoyed that a lot. Very good opening track. Very nice. I actually have that written down a bunch. Very nice. It was just a really good opening track, and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And so Paranoia, very, very, frenetic, very quick, very stinging. And the reason I say stinging in particular is what the guitar does. Like how it does that, certain parts of the song. It kind of just reminded me of that little feeling you get when you think someone's watching you. It's like you kind of feel it in the back of your head and just makes you turn around and you're like, what was that? So I feel like the little was very good. A little subtle representation of that in there. Yeah, that one was very, it was very, very intense. It was just really kind of just, it really, I felt like they were really trying to, encapsulate the feeling of, paranoia in just everything that they did with that song. Little guitar parts, drum parts, just the lyrics, it was just really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Okay. And Naivety. Alright. I have in caps written bells, because the bell sounded cool. I like the bells. Vocal delivery, yes. Oh man. Oh god, his voice sounded so good. Jeremy's voice sounded really good on this track. It sounded really, it's gonna sound kind of odd to say this, but it sounded really smooth to me, not really easygoing type smooth, but just smooth. Yeah, that's a little bit. But vocal delivery, oh man, I love the way his voice sounded on this track. I do when I was just listening to it, I really like the message behind the lyrics, because it's just really true, it's just as you grow up, you stop being so naive, you start getting more aware of the world around you, and you're not protected from everything, or even the stuff that people are trying to protect you from, you're aware of it because you're older and grown and you observe more and you know more. So I mean, it's just really true, and it was just a really good track. It was just really true and just extreme reality. But yeah, I really like that track. That track was really good. Oh man. Alright. It also reminded me of Homesick a little bit. Just the album overall. Not the particular song, but it just reminded me a little bit of Homesick. But yeah, great track. I enjoyed that track too. Alright, Exposed. Okay, as soon as this track started playing, I was Genty. I was Genty. It sounded really kind of just see, I'll say Born with Stars kind of stuff. It just sounded really it was just crushing. I was okay, awesome. So yeah, the opening definitely great, definitely awesome. Breakdown, destroyed. Oh, bam, it was awesome. Loved it. Um, for some, like the opening and the really heavy kind of part, especially the breakdown, reminded me of UB Tales, I'll Be Sonic, from What Separates Me From You. Just a little bit, not a ton, but I was just like, oh, UB Tales, I'll Be Sonic. Cool. So I just wrote that down. But oh yeah, great. I feel like it's a song you should play to some politicians, even though they want to be like that, obviously. So part just so you want to be, they'll be like, yes, I want to be corrupt and steal your money and everything like that. But yeah, awesome track, crushing, like devastating, just vocally, instrumentally, like oh, it was just like I was making that like what face you make when you're like this really sick breakdown and just start doing this with your shoulders. I was like, it was great. Awesome. Alright, Bullfight. Whew, such a misleading title. I expected this song to be like fast, heavy, like devastating, but it was kind of just like definitely not as intense as you think. Yeah, definitely not as intense as I thought it was gonna be. Definitely, drum wise and bass wise. I don't know why, but this particular song, like, I really like the way the drums and the bass like sounded. I think this was the track that those instruments had the best sound, like alone and together. Because for some reason, like, I just zeroed in on them during this song. It's like, wow, the drums and the bass sound really good. Like, the bass is very nice and defined here. The drums just sound really crisp and clean. I was like, ooh, drums and bass sound pretty good. So for that song, that was like drums and bass wise the best sounding song for me. Reassemble. I mean, I totally thought of Avengers there for a second, of course, when I first saw that title. But of course, I'm a huge symphonic metal guy. I mean, not of course, because you don't really know that yet, but I'm a huge symphonic metal guy, and it had a very symphonic feel to me, at least the beginning and everything. And I really liked it. It was like kind of uplifting sound, but also kind of sadish and a little bit kind of just like type. But the opening was very good. I enjoyed that opening. Very nice. Good use of guitars in that one as well. They kind of retained like a little bit of the sonic feel just by the way the notes they played on the guitars and the effects that were on them, because it kind of gave you this slightly operatic kind of spacey sound to it, and it kind of it didn't necessarily like enhance the feel of the song, but it kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of made it all stick together, brought it together more, and I think the particular use of those kind of elements for that song really kind of brought it out and made it seem a little more cohesive. So about that track, I really liked a lot. Yeah, that was the thing that stuck out to me the most about that one. Justified. Okay, when I heard the opening and then saw the title, I thought of that FX series about like the outlaw guy or whatever, the cop, something like that. It's like this old FX series. So it kind of at first reminded me a little bit of like Cowboys, old West style stuff. But that's just the way I perceive things. And it was a very, and that's the thing, like, it wasn't. You see the title and you think it's gonna be a certain way, but it wasn't that way, and that turns out to be, a good thing and not a bad thing. And it was just good. I mean, it was a very nice track. At some point, I think it was the chorus. It reminded me a little bit of The Price We Pay, just the way it sounded and kind of the flow of it. Just for a little bit there in the chorus, it reminded me of The Price We Pay. So, yeah, that was a very good track. And I don't know why I was thinking about Cowboys, but that's just me. Alright, We Got This. Definitely my favorite track off the album. It is a track I believe you can take and read as a speech in graduation. It is a track that you could take and read at a college graduation. It is a feel good song. It is an inspiring song. It is an uplifting song. Like this is a pump up song. This is a happy, great, like encouraging song. I loved it. It was just it reminded me of when I was graduating high school, and I was so excited about college, but also worried, and I was like, I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know if I could, accomplish it. Like I had so many friends in high school, didn't know if I was going to see them later, or what would happen. Like you're just so uncertain of your future at those kind of points in time. I feel like this is a song like this is something that you should hear when you're graduating high school or college, or just when you're taking on a new endeavor or something that you've always wanted to do, or something that you know about but you've never actually actively engaged in, and it's going to be like huge and take a ton of time, dedication, and work, and you're going to have to make sacrifices for it. And it's just encouraging. It pumps you up, and it's like, we got this. It's not you got this. So it emphasizes like others are there for you, others will help you, others will be there for you, and it's just a really, really positive song. I think it's the best song off this album. I love it, and it just it's just great. It just makes you feel like you can do it. Like no matter what, you can do it, and someone else will be there to help you. Like you're not doing it alone, and you're not gonna be alone. God, it was a great track, dude. Oh man, it's just a great track. Like best track off the album by far. All right, Same About You. Again, vocal delivery. Good Lord, awesome. Oh man, awesome. Okay, awesome. Man, the vocal delivery is almost great. All right, definitely reminded me of some of my ex-girlfriends like a lot. So yeah, that brought back some memories, both well and not so well. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the house that Doubt built. It obviously isn't the same topic, of course, but it was just I want to say the atmosphere of the song, and it definitely didn't have the same mood as a house that Doubt built, but I kind of want to say, for me, I felt a little twinge of kind of the same kind of emotion coming out of that song, and it was just really, it wasn't like super sad, but it was just kind of like, oh, well, this is bad, but, so, yeah, yeah, but vocal delivery, great, awesome. Turn Off the Radio. Oh man, let me see. Okay, yeah. One of the truest songs on the album, possibly one of the truest, because good Lord, man, I cannot tell you how many times I'll turn on the radio and hear something about Trump, or Hillary, or Obama, or Syria, and like all this stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god, this song is nailing it. It is nailing it like a carpenter. It was just one, like, probably the truest song on this record. Oh man, just turn off the radio, dude. Turn off the TV. Stop watching CNN. Stop watching Fox. Just stop listening to the radio. Stop watching the news, dude. It's just God. But awesome song. True. 100%, 120% true. Alright, Forgive and Forget reminded me a lot of Have Faith in Me. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say this would be a sequel to it, but it definitely reminded me of, it felt like it was kind of carrying on the topic and the subject in, not of course the same way, but it just felt to me it was in that same vein, and the emotion was behind the lyrics and the singing just 100%. Like the emotion and the voice and the instruments, it was just very, very emotionally powerful. And that reminded me of some of my ex-girlfriends too, so yeah, that's probably why it's emotional for me. But yeah. Negative Space, definitely not a happy one. Definitely not the happiest song on the track. I mean, the happiest song on the record. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like absolutely just like, oh, I'm gonna go, cut myself down. But it was definitely, more of a, I wouldn't say more like more of like a mature type track, in my opinion, the way like the lyrics were, written. But definitely not a happy track. At least I didn't feel like it kind of had that just mood for me. It was just like, you're gonna sit there and reflect a lot on the bad things. But it was still a good track. Of course, it has emotion and it makes you feel good and it's delivered well. It's a good track. Oh yeah, and I got the deluxe edition. So Negative Space and In Florida are bonus tracks. So In Florida, very nice backing vocals. I don't know whose backing vocals those were, but awesome backing vocals. It went very well with Jeremy's voice. I appreciated how they lifted up and conjoined. No, that's a weird word. It was kind of like, Jeremy was Spider-Man, and the backing vocals were the symbiote, but the symbiote wasn't evil and stuff like that. It was kind of like that. Those backing vocals really kind of added a new dimension and just kind of like extra little flavor to just whatever the backing vocals were singing, and it was very nice. I enjoyed it. And again, vocal delivery, man. Oh my goodness. Okay, so those are 13 tracks, and overall, here we go. Okay, like sound wise, great. The vocals sounded great. Cleans, harsh backing sounded great. The instruments were very, very well, mixed, and everything just felt. Nothing felt even, but in a good way, where nothing felt like it was overpowering anything else. Like if you watch my Twilight Force review, I said how in the Battle of Arcanite, some things sounded kind of dulled down, a little uneven. Now I could hear some stuff a little bit more, but this was not the case with this album. It was just very, very well put together sonically. Everything was mixed well. Everything was pronounced well. Everything was hearable well, and you could distinguish everything, and everything was super crystal clear, crisp, smooth, and clean. Loved it. Whoever they got to do this album did a great job. They deserve a Grammy for that. Emotional. Good Lord. Oh, man. And I'll tie this into my last one as well. But it was very just... I feel like even if you were an adult, you could definitely relate to this album, because it's... They're speaking to a younger audience, but it's just very, very mature, and it makes you think a lot. And I feel like this is the kind of album that younger kids, I'm not older than that, I just turned 23, but I feel like there's something, because, dystopia is, I guess, I'm not gonna, say anyone's a child or anything like that here, but I think dystopia and stuff like Hardwired was for, more adults to realize the state our world is in and what's going on around us. And I feel like Bad Vibrations, which, by the way, was a great title for the times we're in, and just, it encompasses the album as a whole very well. I feel like it's more of the dystopia for, the younger kids, the ones that are still in high school, or maybe getting out of high school, like the younger college students. I feel like it's a very, 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 it's a very, very good album for its time, and the subject matter covered in it, it didn't cover, war or, death a lot, or anything like that, like Dystopia and all these other bands are out here doing. Like, it didn't focus on a dystopia. It didn't focus on a physical or political dystopia. It focused on a mental and emotional dystopia. And I think it's good that an album like this was made at this time. with this kind of content for this audience, because you got Megadeth up here talking about government and world history and terrorism, but those aren't the only issues that people face. Those are external issues. That's stuff that affects everyone as a whole, but it doesn't affect like individual people in the same ways that emotional discord does. And I feel like this was an excellent kind of album for younger kids and just because adults can go through this too, but I feel like they're speaking more to the younger generation, because this is more about emotion. It's more about how you feel, what you've been through, mistakes you've made, what you've done. Not about like ISIS over here or the government over here. It only alludes to that a little bit in songs like Turn Off the Radio and everything, but it's more about you. It's about how you feel. It's about your emotion and your feelings and your mindset and your specific mind state, not the world as a whole or the country as a whole. And I think that was an excellent topic, and I feel like it was an excellent how am I trying to say this? It was just emotionally, that's where it needed to be, and that's where it was, and that's where it stuck, and that's where it stayed, and it filled that space well. Because we can talk about terrorists and everything like that, but there are kids in high school, still getting bullied, still going through maybe their first relationships, getting heartbroken, and all this other stuff. And the world's terrible and stuff, but sometimes you also have to just look at individuals and what they're going through and how they feel. Not about like ISIS or anything like that, just about how they feel about like their girlfriend or their boyfriend who just broke up with them and that was their first relationship, or if they can do this thing, if they can do what they want after they graduate high school, like can they achieve it? Will people be there to help them? Like it was much more built on emotion, and I think that's great. I think this album was definitely needed for youth and maybe for some older people. I mean, like I said, it stirred up some of my emotions. I think about my exes and like the whole college graduation analogy, all that stuff. It's definitely something that definitely younger kids needed, and it was just something that was needed, like emotionally wise. We got to talk about our emotions. We can't just talk about politics all the time. We have to talk about like our emotions and like other things that affect us as well, that affect us like in here and not just everywhere out there. But it was an amazing album. I loved it. Loved it. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Great album. I'm really glad about it. Really glad I listened to it. I'll still be listening to it for years to come. I'm definitely gonna show it to my kids as well. But yeah, great album. Thank you guys for watching. Rock on.